Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? Every Wednesday on the Low Blows Network, the Low Blows team are at hand to break down, analyse and make fun of all things pro wrestling. Hosted by former pro wrestler Rick Nash. I think the only reasonable thing we can do now is turn John Cena heel.
Selfie with me fucking dog.
Banned from Nigeria. I will be talking to the government tomorrow morning. YouTube star Corporate King.
This elephant has 4 legs. Joe Russell's 4 legs. Joseph Stalin, if he had 2 more legs.
Bonesaw rips off his shirt, yeah, and it says, "Chuck your law, big dirty tricorn."
And the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katey Harvey.
I won't want to sign just CM Punk.
So embarrassed. CM Punk.
It's Low Blows.
How was your week, guys? You know, you think you've had a rough week, and then you start recording your podcast, and you have to sit across from Katey Harvey as she makes her return to Low Blows, as she struggles to hold the mic with 2 hands because we forgot to bring a stand. Sorry. And you think, you know what? Maybe my week wasn't so bad. Welcome back. It's the return of the Queen. Welcome back to Low Blows. How are you?
I am glad to be out of the house, back talking to people face to face. It was a long month away. What date is today?
20th?
20th.
This is the month anniversary of my accident.
Whoa!
Yeah, I have been in hibernation for a month.
And how's that been like? What you been doing?
There's only so much Netflix you can watch, so many Twitter arguments you can get into.
You've become a proper troll, have you?
Yeah, actually, a secret account where I just. No, it's been a good month, but I'm well on the way to recovery, and I am glad to be back out and about in the civilized world again.
Good. And like, how has it been? Because like, obviously, you've been injured before, but like, this is like, you know, you can't use your arms, you know, and you were telling me before, doctors have been telling you that you'll never wrestle again, but you've been firmly disagreeing. So.
Oh, yeah, I just said no, like, and then I said to my specialist, I was like, do you even know what wrestling is?
Yeah.
And she went, no, and I was like, yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, like, I could come back, and she goes, fine. I think she's just sick of me now, to be honest.
Just telling you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But how's that side of it been? Like, you know, we've seen you on Twitter, and like, we've been chatting to you as well, like, in the meantime, and as well, like, we've been keeping it, while all the current stuff went on, I've made sure to like keep you in the loop, to give you something to kind of read while you've been at home and like entertain you. But like, you've been keeping busy and stuff like that. We've seen you in good spirits. Like, it must have been tough though as well, like having like no use of your arm, not knowing what's going to happen with your wrestling career. Like, how's that side of it been, or have you been just keeping positive the whole time?
There is ups and downs. Like, obviously, I only put like the positivity stuff on Twitter, but it has mostly been more positive than down. But there have been instances like where like I'll just be sitting there and it'll hit me like, I really want to go get a drink, but I can't turn on the tap. You know, I can't open the door to get to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that has actually been hitting me more than anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, as the days go on, I'm getting stronger. I'm getting able to move more. The more I'm able to do for myself, the better I feel.
Yeah. Think of the comeback as well.
Think of the pop.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that pop I got in the Big Sean. Oh my God. As I said, like, I only took 2 broken arms to get over that much.
Like, it was proper, like, do you remember when Hulk Hogan came back and he kept getting those big, really long standing ovations that didn't, it was like that in the Big Sean on Friday when Katey came out.
I was starting to cry, and I was like, oh my God, stop, because I won't be able to talk in a second. But I couldn't do my pose even, because, you know, my pose I usually do.
I didn't want to say.
That was a bit sad. That was a little, and like the lads have been doing it to make fun of me, and I'm like, I can't do my pose anymore.
That, like, I was saying to you on Friday, like, essentially now with the broken arms, like, you've become Miss Elizabeth. That's like your new gimmick in Fight Factory.
Yeah.
And it's really effective because, like, for that Elizabeth thing to work, like, you have to actually, like, you can't just do it with anyone. You have to actually feel sorry and like the person as well. So you have that. So people were genuinely, like, when Sam came out and was acting all creepy and stuff like that, people were genuinely, you leave her alone!
Yeah, like, that'll be a fun thing to explore. Even if I'm not back wrestling in the next year, I mean, like, I can manage, I can try commentary. Probably won't try refereeing. I don't think I can manage an L3 count for a while.
Just really slow. Keaton was talking a couple of weeks ago about refs and death matches when there's tags, and they just have to, like, rub the canvas.
I could experiment my foot just stomping 3 times. Yeah, but, like, it's gonna get easier. Like, it was a pretty nasty injury.
Yeah.
For, like, the people that don't know, I dislocated, broke, shattered my radius and in both arms, and then tore all the muscles off the bone in my left arm on top of that. So, like, a lot of the doctors have said they've never quite seen an injury like this before. And then when I tell them wrestling is scripted, their minds are blown. They're like, did you plan this? No, not this part.
So, yeah, like, it just, you were going for a dive and then, like, no one was there and then you just landed on both arms.
Yeah, like, I just landed front bump position, which it sounds mad to say. I'm lucky because I didn't hit my head.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
from that
yeah.
height, slamming down with that weight, I could have really, like, concussed myself. I didn't damage my wrists, I didn't damage my knees, I didn't damage my shoulders or my collarbones or my neck. So, in a way, like, I landed as I should, and my elbows just took the damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, just unfortunately, just was a really big bang on a wooden floor.
Jesus, if this is like that sounds like a great Saturday night. Hey, no, but if this is like you know, if this is good luck, you know what I mean? Like,
well, like,
fair play, you're staying so positive, and I think that's really inspirational for a lot of people.
I was
like,
really upset, and then my auntie came to visit me, and she was like, after the operation, a lot of sympathy, and she goes, did you hear about your cousin Willie? And I was like, no, is he okay? And she goes, well, he chopped his arm off, so he's kind of going through a similar thing. Yeah, my cousin chopped his arm off.
Like, off? Like,
well, they've managed to reattach it now. But, like, I was, like, sitting there in my cast and, like, all right, I guess I'm not so bad off. Like,
how did you do that?
With a saw.
What? Why?
It just slipped. I don't know. Like, I don't.
no, he didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, I don't think that was like a deathmatch situation where the spot went wrong.
He's just like, I'm a bit bored today. You know, I'll do that. No,
So, like,
Jesus.
I mean, it just showed me there is still someone worse off. So there's no point in getting upset. There's no point in getting angry or point. And like, a few people have said to me like, "Oh, you're not real angry at the girls," or, you know, so and so's fault. It's wrestling. At the end of the day, I know what I'm signing myself up for. Injuries happen. This is just an unfortunate accident. I'm not going to get angry, upset as much as I can help it. So.
Fair play. Look, that's really inspirational as well. I think a lot of people are finding strength in that. And as well, they're looking at it and going, look, at least not Katey, I can use my arms. It could be worse. Cobra Keen, now the Katey Harvey is back. We do get to have a return of Queen versus Keen. You've been waiting for this for weeks. You've been, like, complaining that, like, you didn't get the points while she was off. How are you feeling now? Are you feeling confident? 8-5 down. You've got a long road back. So how are you feeling?
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling confident. This is great. I hope it's all arm-related training. I hope it's lifting. I hope it's all that sort of stuff. Everything. Just an elbow, bending, test, challenge, whatever. No, I mean, I'm up for that.
Like, never before in the history of Queen versus Keen would you have Keen hope for something to do with lifting. This is the one time, like, I hope you're enjoying this and milking it for what it's worth. But fair play to you, Katey, and that's great. Great to hear you staying so positive. It's been a mad week, like, for myself as well, as a lot of people will be tuning in to hear about. We are going to get to that. You know, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, having been around a long time. Like, I learned a long time ago, you can't really let yourself or your mental health or something like that be affected too much by wrestling. You've kind of got to roll with the punches and go, this is all part of it, blah, 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 blah. If I did, this week would probably have been pretty bad because there was a lot going on and pretty stressful and stuff like that. But I don't. So we're gonna tell the story about what happened with Low Blows Ruin Wrestling. Spoiler alert: we did.
Yay! Congrats,
One wrestling company dead. No, Low Blows Ruin Wrestling. We announced on Twitter earlier on. Why does this always happen on Wednesdays when we're taping as well? What happened? We announced that Saturday won't be going ahead. We're going to give you the full story still to come. On top of all that, we're going to be reviewing Elimination Chamber. We're going to be going through a great weekend in Irish wrestling, so we have an absolutely packed show that is going to run long. But you know that already. You've downloaded it. So why not wait around? Let's get on with it, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about the news and the things from the week that have been winding us up and catching our eye, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
Hot Takes.
Well, look, you've been off for weeks, and look, this whole segment basically came about because you did such a good job with Harvey's Hot Take, so we may as well give you first up. People have been waiting for this. The latest Harvey's Hot Take.
Well, I think most people knew as soon as this story popped up that I was going to have an opinion on it, and that is Chyna going into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I think it's too little too late, to be honest.
Oh.
I've seen a lot of people, at least she's going in, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? At least isn't good enough. She is the absolute pioneer in women's wrestling. She should have been put in when she was still alive, when she could appreciate it. And I think this is just really a cop-out to get her in, because a lot of people are focusing on the fact, Chyna's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, as part of a faction.
Yeah.
And it's like years after her death. And when you think about the other women who are already in the Hall of Fame, I 100% believe they deserve to be there, but I also think there should be a pecking order as to when people go into the Hall of Fame. And I think there's some people who should have went in after Chyna. She should have been like priority number one to get in there. And like, this is very cynical of me, but part of me thinks it's easier to put her in now because she can't embarrass the company anymore. You know,
I don't think you're wrong. I don't disagree.
It's just like this whole thing of like, if your kids Google Chyna, what's going to come up? I mean, that could be said for a lot of women, a lot of men as well in the WWE. What will happen if you Google certain words to do with them? So I just think the whole thing is a cop-out, and I don't think I'm that happy about her going in this way, and I just hope she does get in by herself eventually and gets the kind of recognition she deserves.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like even Google X-Pac. Exact same video comes up. You know what I mean? That's what you're afraid of.
You Google DX and you see what comes up on Raw. You know what I mean? And like, that's a lot of that's fairly dodgy now watching it back. I was watching some of the old DX stuff in light of them going in, and I was like, how the fuck did they get away with that on telly? Like, and they're going to re-show it now. But then also a lot of the video packages WWE have been putting out with DX was the recent iteration led by Triple H and Shawn Michaels rather than the risque old stuff.
Yeah. I was on the fence, and I was like, okay, I'll kind of see how they handle this at first. Because, like, we've been calling out on the show for years, like, for Chyna to go in. It's not a controversial take. It's just common sense. She should be there. Like, you have the likes of Beth Phoenix in, and again, nothing against Beth Phoenix, but like you said, there is no Beth Phoenix without Chyna. Beth Phoenix is like, she was the modern day Chyna of her time, and not she achieved her own things on her own merit, but there was a lot of influence there, and you could see it, like. But then I looked at the video package that they did, and like, Chyna is a bit part. Like, you have to like squint, and you're like, oh, there she is. Oh, there she's in the background. You know what I mean? And it's just they don't want to put her at the forefront, which is shitty because it's just Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They're already in. That's not the significant part. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? It is a shame, and like, it's sad that you respond that way because like, it's as if they knew you were coming back this week with Chyna going in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, the way they've gone about it. I should
be excited about her going in, and like, I just wish she could have been here to appreciate it, because I don't know if you've ever read her book. She had a very sad life, and she struggled a lot by the end of it with different things, and something like this could have been a game changer for her, I seen her an interview this week saying that she was planning on apologising to WWE before she died. Why should she feel the need to apologise? She didn't do anything to disgrace the company, you know what I mean? She went and lived her life, didn't directly affect them. I don't understand why she felt she was in that position.
And even what led to her leaving WWE wasn't even her fault. Do you know what I mean? She changed herself for WWE. She changed the way she looked because she was asked to by WWE. You know what I mean? She was asked to make herself look more feminine and whatnot. She did Playboy and the likes of that, like, because WWE asked her, and now they're gonna then slide her for what happens if you Google Chyna. You literally asked her to do Playboy. You know what I mean? Like, so no, I'm in total agreement.
Even things like Evolution, I feel like she wasn't featured prominently enough in like all these like women's evolution, women's revolution videos. But it's kind of a thing where they only want to recognise certain people, I think, who are on good terms with the company. Like, even watching Elimination Chamber with the women's tag belts, and they're like, oh, the first ever women's tag team champions. But that's not true. Like, especially during that match, they referenced the old teams. And I was sitting there like, what? Like, you've literally just mentioned 3 teams who held that belt, and now you're like, the first ever women's champions.
Yeah.
So I think they just pick and choose who they want to celebrate, and unfortunately, like, Chyna's on the wrong side of that argument for them. And I just wish she was in earlier and on her own merit.
For now, anyway, hopefully this might be the start of something, and maybe we'll feel differently about it in a few years. The good thing about the Hall of Fame is you have time to turn it around. You know what I mean? Look at the amount of people we thought would never be in. Warrior, well, for better or worse, like, but Warrior we never thought he'd be in, and then he kind of had that nice moment, obviously, before the end of his life.
But
Savage.
See, that's it. All the men got the nice moment.
Yeah.
All the men's got
Yeah.
to make amends before they went in, and she was never given that chance.
Yeah, and she was begging for it. Like, she was actively campaigning for it on Twitter, like calling up WWE and doing everything she can. So it is, there's definitely a touch of sadness there. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so Tye Dillinger got he requested his release, and I don't know if it's been said that he got it or not, but he requested it, and people are saying things like, you know, oh, Tye Dillinger, he deserves better. Tye Dillinger, he deserves that push. You know, he deserves that mid-card title. And this is something that's dawned on me recently, right? If any wrestler on the roster gets their own kind of spotlight, their own kind of, like, say they have one moment and it's an interview, or they'll say something, or they'll have one match and it goes on Reddit, and you read the comments on that, everyone always says, oh, that wrestler's underrated, they deserve that mid-card title. Like, there was a segment on Raw recently where Mojo Rawley looked at a mirror and blamed himself at something. He looked at a mirror, it got put on Reddit, and all the comments were like, oh man, he deserves that mid-card title push, yeah, he deserves that. I feel like people say it without realising it. Zack Ryder's another one. You know what I mean? Like, there's loads of these lads who are like, who are in that category where people think, oh, you know, they deserve better. But it's like, look how stacked WWE is now.
Yeah.
Not everyone deserves better. Some people are fine where they're at, if they even should be there. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think Tye Dillinger falls into that category. A lot of people say, you know, oh, these lads, they're going to jump ship. They're going to leave WWE. They're going to go to AEW, and they're going to set AEW on fire. It's like, are they? Are they the ones that are going to, like, the revival? I could see, you know, obviously they're a revival, and, you know, someone like Pac or someone that's, like, you know, top level. I get that. But, like, Tye Dillinger? Like Mojo Rawley? Zack Ryder?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
and how often have we seen it where people who we feel are going to, like, oh, they're going to make a kill, and then they just don't. They, like, wrestle the Milwaukee local scene or whatever, like, and then how many people that we don't say that about end up going out and doing just that, like, think it's Juice Robinson. No one was saying that CJ Parker, like, why didn't CJ Parker get, it's just, he, like, at the rate it's going with New Japan, where people leaving and whatnot, he could be a future IWGP champion, like, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, you never know either, but, like, yeah, I agree. I don't think there was necessarily, like, I don't see why there would be clamouring for Tye Dillinger, like.
Yeah, like, it's possible that he'll reinvent himself, absolutely. Like, that used to happen in TNA all the time. That's why I used to always love it. You know, you'd see lads coming in like 3MB, Drew McIntyre coming out, turning himself into Drew Galloway, a serious competitor, and then coming back. Derek Bateman turning into EC3 and shit like that. Like, it does happen, and it is cool. But to assume that everyone, you know, deserves better and everyone's going to go out and they're going to do that. I mean, what happened to Alex Riley? You know what I mean? I bet there's a lot of Alex Rileys in there that are probably not going to do an awful lot when they leave. But then again, you never know. Wrestling is in a very healthy state, and there's loads of opportunities. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I don't think, basically, long story short, I don't think everyone deserves better.
Yeah, I agree, and it's on the wrestlers as well. I think fans are very easy to blame WWE and creative, but remember that wrestlers have to make themselves. It's like a job. It's like if you don't work hard enough for your boss to notice you, they'll let you keep working, kind of. You know what I mean? And getting through your day and clocking in and out, but you have to make them notice you to get a promotion. It's not as if you just work for long enough and then it's like, oh, you're promoted because you've been here a long time. You know, you have to do something. So you have to hold the wrestlers accountable at some stage as well. So I'd agree with that Tye Dillinger hasn't necessarily done that. Anyway,
is there another hot take? I don't think there is. I think it's actually been a really quiet week. I don't think there's anything at all. I'm surprised you even managed to come up with a hot take. Have you come up with a hot take?
I think I've got something. So
all right, well, good luck with that.
Let's get on to it. All right, let's talk about courage. Right, let's do this. I'm going to try stay factual. I don't want this to be something where I'm burying people, but I do want to tell the story because, spoiler alert, for the past week or so, Corbett Keane and I, seeing the direction that this was going, have started talking about this is going to make for a great story on the show. We just thought that there'd be a show in between. And now, of course, for those of you who haven't seen Twitter yet, the Low Blows Ruined Wrestling got cancelled today. 3 days out before we were due to do the show in the Button Factory, and people are wondering what the story is. Courage have put out their own version. Having been there and been a part of it, I would disagree, but I will just state the facts and I will let you guys make up your mind for yourselves. So for people who don't know the story behind Courage, it started when they were listening to Justy's podcast. Justy came on and said, I think it was actually the Iconic Trio podcast. Justy came on and said, it's a great time for promoters. If you've got money or if you want to promote in wrestling, it's a great time to come in and do your thing. And they took that very literally, and they're like, oh, they've done well in the music industry and whatnot. They have. No one can take that away from them. So why don't we, start a wrestling promotion? We're wrestling fans. We can do that too. They approached a lot of wrestlers early on, and a lot of people involved, like myself. And to be honest, I can only speak from my discussions with them, and my advice early on was like, don't do this. Like, don't do it the way you're planning to do it. The reason being that it will get taken the wrong way. It will get taken as you're directly trying to compete with OTT, whether you are or not. And it's not going to go well for you because, they have a lot of power and influence within the industry there. They're the alpha dogs of the Irish wrestling industry. They didn't listen to that advice. It did not go well for them. There was a talent block. I think I can say this out. We'll just say it. Like, there was a talent block put on them where they couldn't use lads from OTT. I think it's been said publicly now, so I think it's not a secret anymore.
Well, I mean,
you could see it.
Like what? Like,
we weren't not booking more than hype.
Yeah. You think I looked at Terry Thatcher and was like, oh man, I sure as hell don't want to book him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously.
It did get awkward on Twitter because Declan was like pitching hard for us to book Terry Thatcher, and I really like Terry. Like, he's a mate of mine, so I'm like, I don't want to look like I don't want to book him, but we can't.
I'd love to have Terry Thatcher in Temple Bar. That's like the ultimate, like,
yeah.
2 and 2 together.
Temple
like.
Bar bad boy.
Exactly.
There's a main
God,
event.
Katey, that's literally what for the last like 4 weeks.
You've had a month off to think about this. This is going to be the tone with Katey from now on. They didn't listen, they ran anyway, and that's kind of where the name Courage came from. It was kind of themselves patting themselves on the back saying, in spite of all this adversity, we're being really courageous. And like, no one knew the story behind that.
Is that what that was?
I'm pretty sure, because there was something else at the start.
There was. It actually involved Fight Factory. They wanted Fight Factory to help them with the shows originally.
Yeah.
And we decided not to get involved because not only are lots of our roster working for OTT, we have a really good thing going on ourselves. Our episode shows are doing really well.
Yeah.
We've built a really nice little brand ourselves, and I just didn't want to let outsiders in.
Yeah.
So we kind of said no, but something got lost in translation, and they kind of thought we were still working with them, but we had said no, and then they were talking to wrestlers directly and this and that. We were at training one night, and one of the guys just got an email being like, I'm after being offered some absurd amount of money to do a show, and it's saying it's a Fight Factory sponsored show. And me and Phil were like, there's no Fight Factory show. And we looked at the email, and they'd sent them round to like 13 different wrestlers who were in training that night. Yeah. And it said something like Fight Factory presents like grappling or something. And like, we had not authorized this at all. I don't know how they got our logo and shit like that. So we rang them straight away and we were like, look, we're out. Like we weren't in the first place. We're definitely not in now. Good luck to you.
Yeah. I had a similar spot. Just because, again, I didn't have a problem with the guys. I saw them as, like, they're fans and they don't know the business, but they meant well. But I was respectfully like, I don't know you. I'm not willing to kind of do this, at least now. So I respectfully bowed out. And they asked me to commentate, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And they asked for the VOD, and I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll take all comers. So, yeah, you're grand. So, anyway, the first few shows they ran got a bit of bad feedback, which I thought was harsh, because when you consider the lads' experience versus the fact that there were no fires, nobody died, you know what I mean? No, but they were well-run shows. Everything ran kind of smoothly. The problem with them was it was just a bit meh and a bit, why is any of this happening? What is the point? No one got what Courage was, so they didn't get the hole that it filled in their lives, which is kind of how we ended up coming into the fold. Anyway, they did some weird things as well, like throughout the first few shows. Like at one stage they booked Nathan McDonough to be MC, and this is not Nathan. I got Nathan his first MC job at Fight Factory.
Yeah.
He's great. Like, so, and Nathan works for us at the one with the podcast and whatnot. So I love Nathan and I've loads of time for him. But they announced him as if it was like a wrestling match, and like I don't think Nathan even knew about that.
I need to mention this. Right? This I'm not laughing because like they booked Nathan. Nathan, it's a good ring announcer.
Yeah.
But what I found so funny was like Leighton was after having like a Twitter meltdown, and like this, they could even ask Leighton about this. It's so funny. Like the timing was absolute. It was excellently shit. Like he basically had a meltdown where he was like, you know, fuck you, I'm not privatizing my account because you people don't like me or whatever. And then they announced him literally a second later being like, his charm and his enthusiasm. It's like, not only is it like, wait, why are you announcing him? But also it's just like the timing.
Yeah.
And it was like really weird. It was like specific. It was like 11 at night, or it was like some like late at night announcement. It was like, this is so
we were
random.
recording that night, weren't we? Were we recording that night?
Oh,
I
it might have
don't
been.
think so, because I'm pretty sure I was in my room, like,
You're in the group chat.
just like, what's this?
Amazing. Yeah, but like, nothing to do with Nathan. They announced me and Ben as commentators, and it's like, you don't do that. Like, no one cares. And that's VOD anyway. Like, no one's going to hear us commentating on the night. Like, so it's not going to sell tickets to your show.
No, Rick Nash meet and greet is going to...
It's pretty much just like, go to McGowan's on a Friday. You get it for free. Like, they did some weird things. Like, if they had it in a nightclub rights originally, and then they made it all ages, and it's just like, you want parents to bring their kids to a nightclub, like, you know, and it became a nightclub as soon as the show ended as well. So it's like, get out of here, you're gonna see some shit. Like, it was just like a bit, but it wasn't a disaster. It was just a bit naive. It was like lads trying to run a wrestling show without kind of educating themselves on how to do that. Anyway, after the right shows, we heard, and we told this on the podcast, we heard that there may be a spot because someone, I'll let them say it if they want to associate themselves, like I'll let them say it, I won't name them, but someone was involved in kind of running the booking of it and stuff like that. They got on to me and were like, look, I'm not going to do this for much longer. I can't. It's not working. If you want it, it's there. Me and Cian had talked about our idea that we'd had, like, for a kind of alternative attack-style wrestling show, Joey Janela Spring Break-style deal, which is like, it hasn't been done over here, you know what I mean? OTT do a bit of meta adult humour, but like that's just a tiny part of their show off. You made a whole show like that. Like, I'm like, that's a genuine alternative for an adult wrestling audience. So we're looking at doing that, and then this came up and we're like, we can do our idea and basically someone else pays. There's no risk for us. We'll have a bit of fun, and look, who knows, it could go really well. So we spoke to them. I met with Mr. Courage. I'm not going to name them either because there's no need. But I spoke with Mr. Courage, and, like, again, more just kind of telltale signs that they didn't really know what they were doing. I don't think, Cian, you might know this story. I don't think you know this story. At one stage, like, during the meeting, he's like, can I still tell people that I'm the booker? And, like, but, like, I would be we'd be booking the whole show, like. And he turned around and I'm like, well, it's your company, like. You can call yourself whatever you want. Like, I don't care about like the glory or the title. I don't want.
He made a Twitter.
What's that?
He made a Twitter called Courage Booker.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Was that him?
Oh god.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, I didn't even know that. Stick that in the list. But yeah, he asked me if he could, and I'm like, I don't care, like, I don't want people. But it's also going to get confusing because, like, you can't give instructions to wrestlers because, like, Katey, you'll know that, and like, it's not even an insult, like, but if like a fan comes up to you and isn't kind of, it's like any workplace, it's not just wrestling wise. If a fan comes up to you and doesn't know but tries to talk shop with you, you instantly know kind of their experience level. You instantly know if they are a fan. You know that they're not kind of educated in the business. You know what I mean? If someone came up and tried to give you direction, you'd be like, right, I can tell you've done a few training classes because you've learned a few phrases, or I can tell you've never done any of this. So I'm like, they're going to know that, and you're going to need someone to tell them who they'll actually respect, and like we'll be able to talk to them. So like they're going to need me to direct them. So you're going to have to do something. And he's like, how about I'm the booker and you're the booking assistant? And I'm like, I don't care, call it whatever you want, like, but like it was just, and then it kind of came out like why he wanted it. He's like, so is it okay if I do the pre-show speeches? And I'm just like, that's not a big deal. That's not, like, what do you want to do, a Paul Heyman speech from Beyond the Mat? Like, it's not like that. Like, it's just like, you just kind of say, like, don't go over time, you know, don't do this, do this. You know what I mean? It's just a generic, like, staff meeting. Like, it's not like, these people never believed in you. It's not like that, like. But I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, but just give me 5 minutes at the end so I can actually explain what people have to do so they know. And then he's like, yeah, grand. From the get-go, we had our hands tied kind of with the imports and the roster we could bring in because they already had agreed a lot of dates without booking a show. They agreed with like 20 people already, like, we're going to use you, and there was no show or anything done. Like, there was no plan for these people, so we just had a list of people and it's like, make a card out of this.
Yeah, because I saw someone complain earlier about, you know, like, you bringing in Bobby Guns, whatever, which, like, isn't even a bad name to bring in to begin with, but, like, that wasn't either of us that brought in Bobby Guns.
Yeah, and like, look, I'd have been happy, like, when I looked at it as well, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, like, he's someone that's in demand and on the way up, and like, it's, like, I could definitely work with it, like, you know what I mean, but we didn't have any say in that. We had to kind of make it work. Now, we eventually kind of got to have a say, and we brought in some of our own people as well. Like, we had some surprises on the night. I won't get into who it was, because who knows, we might do something down the line. But we had some surprises, and like, we had, by the end of it, I was very happy with our roster and like who we had. But at the start, it was just like, make a show out of this, and I'm like, this show isn't going to sell in Dublin, like, with that roster. Like, nothing against the roster, like, there was, like, I love the roster we had by the end, and all these people were involved in it. It just wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't, like, when you put it next to, say, the OTT roster, it's like, it's Premier League and Vauxhall Conference. Not in a bad way, again, nothing against anyone on it, but it's like, it's just, there wasn't even enough wrestlers to make a card out of it. And then, as well, what they were saying to us was, now, we're going to have to be strict on the budget. And I'm like, but you're running a show in Dublin City Centre, like, this is when you splash out the budget. And their big promise was that, when they came in, was that we've loads of money, we're willing to lose money for a year if we have to, you know, it's going to be fine, we can afford to pay wrestlers better than they get elsewhere. And they didn't really get the fact that it's like, that's not why lads are wrestling with OTT, because they have these spectacular paydays. Lads wrestle with OTT because they can get to WWE or New Japan or AEW or Impact. Like, that's why they wrestle there. So you're not going to pay them more than WWE will, or you're not going to take away that. So you're not going to get anyone by paying them more. But, like, I didn't say that because I'm like, I want my mates to get paid. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if you want to do that, that's fine. But then they started talking to us about budgeting and this and that, and they're like, we can't afford any more imports, we can't afford this. And I was like, I remember I said to you weeks ago, I was like, people are going to kill us because there's no women's match in the card. But we couldn't add anything, you know what I mean? I'm like, there's, like, we wanted to, but there was just, we had the card dictated to us. Yeah,
because we're like, you know, again, like, this is, you know, like, we put our names out there and we're like, oh yeah, we're the bookers for the show. It's like, alright then, you two big fucking sexist.
Yeah.
Where's your women's match? Like, well, I mean, yeah.
there was also little things, like, I had to introduce him to the idea of airport runs. Like, at one stage he was telling me he didn't want to book someone, I won't name names, he didn't want to book someone again because they'd asked him for taxi fare for the last show after having to get themselves from the airport to the venue. And I'm like, did you not have anyone collect them from the venue?
Oh, it was actually from the airport to the venue?
Yeah.
Okay, when I heard that story, I thought it was they didn't get their expenses from their house to the airport because they were on a ridiculous flight, which is also a pet peeve of mine, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're booking someone on a 6 a.m. flight, you better make sure they have a way to get from their house to the airport that isn't going to be more than their wage. But, that's much, much worse. I would be furious.
Yeah,
I would be furious.
And like the excuse was the airport does shuttle buses, and it's just like, no, like
did they pay for their shuttle? Did they tell them where to get on, where to get off? Did they? Well, oh my god.
Yeah, this is it. And I was like, you need to like give someone like an extra 20 quid and have them just run to the airport and pick all the imports up. If you're smart, you book them to arrive at a similar time, so you do the least amount of runs. And I had to introduce them to
most people
this.
don't even mind waiting. Like, I've sat in an airport for an hour because someone's coming in an hour after me, and then we get picked up by the same person.
Yeah.
Oh my! I wasn't angry at Courage until now.
But yeah, there's little things like that. Like again, but it's just not knowing. You know what I mean? Rather than being bad will, although it is kind of rude. Yeah, it is.
Hang on. The venue was in Swords.
Yeah, it was around the corner.
Like 10 minutes from the airport.
Yeah. It'd be so easy.
To both send someone and pay for a taxi.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And it, like, wouldn't you someone who put in a shift for us, like, had the best match from me on the shows they were on. I'm narrowing it down there, sorry. But, like, someone who put in a shift, and I was like, we have to use them again. And they're like, no, we won't use them. I felt that they were taking advantage. They weren't. They were doing what every other wrestler in their situation did. And they're like, but other people didn't do it. And it's like, they probably didn't want to be dicks and speak up to you, but, like, they were right to speak up to you. Like, that, there's no problem with what they did whatsoever. And then, like, we got in. And instantly, I kind of suspected this would happen, but I learned that there was difficulty with the talent because the lads didn't know wrestling, and because, again, if wrestlers talk to someone and they know they don't know wrestling, they're going to try and, take advantage as much as they can. And by the way, for the record, I'm not saying this is like all around the board. It was just one or two. But also, I don't blame the wrestlers for this. Wrestlers are doing their job this way. It is, as a wrestler, it's your job to try and maximize your value and maximize your spot on any card. And any wrestler as well. Like, I've been there. I've been the guy who's like, I should be in the main event. I should be doing it. And like, I look back now and I'm like, I really shouldn't. But like, at the time you think it, and it's the job of the booker or the promoter to kind of, okay, you hear that argument, but then you have to be the moderator and you have to stand there and be like, right, okay, how does this all fit into the big picture? But these guys were kind of pushovers in that sense, in the lads were like, I got there when we were discussing the card, it was like, this match needs to be on it. This one match, and they insisted by it, and I looked at it and I'm like, it wasn't a bad match, don't get me wrong. It would have been a good match, but it also wouldn't have sold in Dublin in an over 18s venue. And one of the competitors just has no profile in Dublin, like, so I'm just like, again, not going to name names. Please don't you actually won't guess this because it's not, you don't know who it was, like, the match never happened. But, well, none of the matches happened actually. But, what was it? So, again, I went to Cian and I'm like, we have to do this one match, but, like, it's not working for me. Like, we need to do something. So we put a stip on it. And, like, within a day, and this is a massive pet peeve for me, so within a day I got like contacted by 3 different people, except for the person that's involved when I told them to stip. And like, they could have, because I told them directly, they could have got back to me and said, hey, I don't like this, or can you tell me more, or something like that. They got on to the manager of Courage and then other wrestlers who had to fight their case for them. Had to make kind of an example out of them, like, just to kind of be like, you can take the piss with these lads, but you can't take the piss with me. Like, are you okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Katey nearly had a mic meltdown there.
I dropped. It's really hard to hold when your hands are in cast.
But we kind of had to, like, so I was just took him out of the match straight away, and then sure enough he ended up dropping out. Now, I don't know if word ended up getting around about that, but after that, everyone was so easy to work with. So it's just one of these things. It's like if you're a new manager in a football team, and, you have a player who's acting up. Sometimes you have to bench them, and then everyone else is like, all right, don't take the piss. You know what I mean? Now, not to say that everyone would have took the piss, but it was just I had to manage the roster from the get-go because the lads were being taken advantage of left, right, and centre. But I loved the end roster we got. I loved the cohesion. We were all working together. I was just saying this before the air. I was really looking forward to it because, like, it was the right kind of positive atmosphere where everyone's coming to me, pitching different ideas and this and that. No one's kind of upset about their spot in the card. They're not moaning, but they are pitching for, could we do this? Could we do that? It's exactly the kind of positive atmosphere I wanted, and I didn't expect to get that before the first show, but we got there. So that's why this is disappointing as well. What is it? I have notes, but I was so mad earlier. I was like, I'm just going to keep, like, I'm going to get anxiety and this is going to keep running around my head. I have to write this down. But yeah, like, they were very random with talent as well. Like, you get onto them, and we got a couple of big names. Like, Keane's laughing because he knows exactly the stuff I'm talking about. But we got a couple of, like, not big names, but, like, decent names for the Irish scene, and, like, we'd be like, we've got this person and they want to come on board and do this and do that and we can use them, and like, we're getting really excited, and he'd be like, yeah, I don't know, what about this guy? And it'd be someone who has had maybe one match or something, and we're like, people don't know that. Like, nothing against them, I'm sure they're great and we might use them down the line, but no one really knows that person yet. And he's like, but he sent a really nice email. Like, everyone sends nice emails. They're looking for something out of you. Just because you got a nice email doesn't mean that, like, you should put them on an over 18 show as well. With an over 18 show, you've got to be careful. Katey is, like, struggling with that microphone. If you want, you can put it down. Like, I will just rant. Okay. But also as well, it's an over 18 show, so, like, it's an adult wrestling crowd who are going to be harsher with kids. So I've got to be responsible and not put lads in positions that they're not ready for either. You know what I mean? Because it'd be bad. That's how people stop being wrestlers. Because you put them in a spot that's too deep for them and they can't handle. It doesn't go well, and they just say fuck this, and you never see them again.
Like, Fight Factory can put people on in their first match because they know we have a training school. We call it the next gen. We make it very obvious this person is on their first, second, third match. Be nice. If you don't have a training school attached to you, it's much harder to do that. Yeah, exactly, and especially with an 18s crowd as well. Like, you know what I mean? Who are going to be drinking at the same time and mightn't have that. Like, they might be well past having sympathy by the time they get on. And even then, you're not going to put someone who isn't match ready. You know what I mean? You're going to make sure you're going to know them inside out. So there's that too. And booking people because they're sound. They're all sound to the promoter. They're all sound to the booker. That's the job. Like, you have to filter that. Someone has to be in charge here. There was no promotion done. Like, literally today, before all of this happened, I was walking to work through town. I saw a poster. I saw loads of posters for Fight Factory Episode 7, so the lads did really well there. I saw one poster for Courage for the December show in the right venue in Swords. This is in the city centre. I saw a poster for this. I saw no posters for this show, which is in the city centre, yet the show from Swords still had posters up from 2 months ago, and like, there was no promo done on the ground. I felt like when we came in, like, we agreed to book, which is a very specific job. We will take the wrestlers you give us, we'll make a fun card out of it. That was our remit. I think they wanted us to come in and do everything for them. Like, promote it, do all the things, basically do everything. And I wasn't doing that. Simple as. I wasn't, because if I did it the first show, then it'd become my job. And I'm like, I haven't agreed to this. We were earning fuck all, like, for that job. And by the way, like, today, I made sure that the wrestlers all got paid. I will say, to their credit, Courage have paid the wrestlers now. I put pressure on them in public that was basically, you better fucking do it, or I'm gonna make a show of you, because I suspected that maybe they wouldn't. But at the same time, they have. We put in more work though than the roster. We didn't get a penny for this, and we weren't ever gonna get a penny. But we were working hours upon hours upon hours, because they just expected us to do it, and I wasn't. I straight up wasn't doing it, because like it was their company. Like, why should I do it if it's their company? Like, you know what I mean? And if they're not willing to do it themselves, and we haven't agreed to it. Even like stuff like asking me what to tweet. You will have seen this because it happened in the grief chat. Literally, like, asking me words to put into a tweet, and it's just like. Match announced for Low Blows Room. Like, do you need me to tell you this? Like, I can probably say this now. one thing that rattled me is I was told that they messaged a few of the Fight Factory trainees, giving out that they hadn't promoted the Courage shows enough on their social media, and this and that. And at the end of the day, they're not Courage trainees. They weren't working on the Courage shows. I want to make that very clear. They weren't any of the people appearing on Courage.
Oh, really?
They were Fight Factory trainees. And they were messaged and told that they weren't doing enough promotion on social media. Now the lads had helped out putting up rings and stuff like that, like just general get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
These lads help at any show they can get to.
Yeah.
They're not affiliated. They just want to get their foot in the door for when they're show ready. And they were messaged and told they weren't doing enough promotion, and that really pissed me off, to be honest, because it's not their job.
They don't owe it to you, yeah, exactly, as well. And as well, like, they're trainees, and they're, like, had very little... they're not going to have many Twitter followers either. Like, it's not even going to be a massive benefit to you, you know what I mean? It's like...
And I wouldn't mind they had done what little postering had been done out of the goodness of their hearts. And then to be told, you haven't done enough. They're not on your show. You're not booking them. You're not paying any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the issue was that they had retweeted OTT stuff and Fight Factory stuff. Yeah, because they're genuinely excited about them shows or matches, or that's their mates, or that's where they want to go,
Yeah, that's their promotion. Like,
yeah.
But
they're literally just lads on Twitter retweeting what they want, what they like.
And they're allowed.
Yeah, so I don't know. Clearly you didn't know that, judging by your
No,
expressions.
I did not know that. That's all right. This is adding to the list. So basically that's the setup that we were in. But at the same time, we just got on with it. We dealt with it. Me and Cian had the great chats. We came up with... Here's the one thing that I never worried about and haven't given out about yet. The one thing we never worried about was the card. The card was really good, and that makes me sad. Because I think we did a fucking good job, like...
Yeah, I thought the card was grand.
Like, we can say this now. The main event was going to be Bobby Guns against Dimitri Krakovic. Now... Bobby Guns obviously got injured with concussion at the weekend, and then Dimitri on Friday, if you're at Fight Factory, you would have seen he broke his nose in the match with Sean Guinness, and got on to it. Thought he was going to be fine on Friday, got on to me on Monday morning and was like, look, doctor's saying this.
I seen him on Sunday and his face was black.
Yeah. Like, so that fell apart, but that was going to be, I was really looking forward to that because it was going to be kind of the Dimitri coming out party, and that was going to be our main event as well, like, so I was really looking forward to that. The Floodgate match, not a hardcore match. We'll get to the story behind that in a second because there's a story there. Do you know this?
You've told me.
I've told you, yeah, okay. But yeah, so like I really liked our cards. I thought it was going to be good. Club Rock Shandy against Skylar and Lucky Kid, like that was going to be great. Even the replacement match we had. But we'll get to it anyway. Last week it was kind of like, all right, this is worse than we thought. Because we hadn't announced that we're doing a death match because over 18 show. We're going to do a death match. But what was the name of the death match actually? Do you remember off the top of your head? We corporate keyed the name.
It was like a no holds barred Extreme Rules street fight, and then in brackets with no DQs. So something
with no disqualifications or countouts.
Yeah,
no, what was it? Extreme Rules street fight with no holds barred. No disqualifications or countouts.
Like you have to basically every single no DQ variant in one, just so you know it's not just a regular.
Did it have rope breaks?
Of course not.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I would hope not. It's no DQ. It's no, you know what I mean? It's a no holds barred Extreme Rules street fight. Well, I don't know, right? There's a lot in it. But the point was, it was a super duper no DQ match.
Yeah, so we're going to have that with Bruiser and Savage. And then, like, I literally got on and I was like, are we announcing that? Like, which became my tone with them, like, do something. By the end of it, will you do so? Like, fucking, like, just don't have me have to tell you everything. Like, for fuck's sake, it's your company. But, like,
you sound like my mum. Like, I'm in my room doing nothing and she just comes in and it's like, kid, do something with your fucking life.
But, so I got on and then and only then we find out it's like, oh, we were talking to the venue today and they said we're not allowed to do that match. I'm like, what? We can't do the match. The venue said no. I'm like, okay, first off, how did the venue know they're doing the match? And then it's like, well, we were talking to them about ticket sales. And we had told them initially that we're going to sell 30 to 40% of all sales by a week before the show, and we haven't sold that. Now, for a start, that's a 500 capacity venue, okay? Like, so 30 to 40% is 150 to 200 tickets. A week out before the event, that's never going to happen. I'll tell you something as a promoter within Ireland with Low Blows, all right? And this is the way it's been around the board for everyone. It's that way for Fight Factory and all the promotions around. It's like, the only company that do big pre-sales these days now are OTT, because they're the hot ticket, they're the hot hand, and even then, like, they don't sell out as often as they used to, because like there's so much stuff on. But like for the other companies, we often, like, because of the way it's gone with OTT and there's so much wrestling on, there's different stuff on every single week. What we do is we will, like, it'll get to the week of, and there won't be a lot on, but then it'll start to skyrocket as day by day goes by. It'll start to get closer and closer, and then a lot of the business is done on the door. Like, so for example, whereas a few years ago with Low Blows, we usually sell out WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, a week in advance, and then we'd have the week before just to plan and not have to promote or anything like that. It's not that way anymore, because there's so much on. The fans tend to not make up their mind until the week of, or don't even get a chance to think about it. They don't even get to evaluate, am I going to that? Because they generally like, do I have money left at the end of the month, because there's so much wrestling on. And it's a great situation in one way, but it's stressful for promoters as well, because we need to know. Low Blows have had to change around the way we do our ticket sales. Like, we actually get, it's cheaper if you buy an Eventbrite.ie now, because we need to know to tell buskers like how much to staff and whatnot. But he got onto us and and I'm like, okay, why are the venue giving out to you? You've paid the Button Factory £1,200. Why are they giving out to you about how many tickets you've sold? That's a private booking. That's like telling people you haven't got enough people coming to your 21st. It's like, I'm paying you. Like, shut up. It's like, this is a transaction. And he's like, oh, well, the Button Factory just aren't happy. They're not going to get enough drink sales. I'm like, but that's why you're paying them. Like, so, like, what their drink sales are irrelevant to this. Like, fucking the Tivoli don't get onto OTT and be like, we need more drink sales. It's like, no, I paid you for your venue, and this is like, we have to do that with buskers, but that's because we don't rent buskers. We work with buskers, and therefore it's both of our businesses, you know what I mean? But it's not the way when you pay a venue. It's like someone telling you, you know what I mean? Like, I said this to him at one stage. I'm like, it's like buying a jumper in a clothes shop and then saying, you're not allowed to wear this on Sundays. It's like, fuck you, I paid you money. And then, but not only this, but the venue, I'm like, you've given them booking control over it. It's like, yeah, they have to approve every match. What? I was genuinely like, do you think Joe or Phil do this? Do you think any promoters in Ireland go to venues and are like, can we do this, can we do that? Fair enough if at the start they turn around and it's like, no blood or anything like this. I'd respect that, because it's like, right, you've set that out in the original contract. You have your own terms and conditions, that's fair enough. But turn around in the middle of it and going, we won't have that match. Why are you surrendering control of your show to your venue, who you're paying $1,200, a lot of money to? It makes no sense. So that's where the not a hardcore match came from, because we were just pissy at that stage. We're just like, what if we just do a not a hardcore match? And then we're like, right, okay, that's actually a funny name. How we go about that? So it was like, there are a list of banned items. It was based on a true story. There are a list of banned items on it. And if it's not on the list, so like the regular hardcore things like chairs, tables, thumbtacks, kendo stick, etc. But if it's not on the list, it's legal. So, like, you have to get creative. So it's going to be like, at one stage, a spot idea I came up with is like, someone gets a can of Lynx Africa and a lighter, but the rest takes the lighter off him, so he just sprays him with the can of Lynx Africa, and it's like, no, not Lynx Africa! So, like, just creative stuff like that, just completely different stuff. It would have been a lot of fun, but again, we're like, right, the venue is in control of this show, and I've never heard of that. Have you ever heard of...
No, well, to be honest, I didn't even know the card on Friday before the show. Like, that's how little control Phil gives up. No, we've never had to clear anything other than, like, what time we'll be in and out, how many chairs we're bringing. I've never experienced that. No,
but, like, I think what happened was the lads were not only getting pushed around by the wrestlers and us, they were getting pushed around by the venue, and, like, the venue was just, like, fucking with them because they didn't want wrestling in. So they were like, can we have a death match? And they're like... No, because I think the venue was just pissed. And then, like, turn around, I found this out of people, like, people were texting me and they're going, the lads are telling me not to bump too much because there's not that many tickets gone. why are you killing your roster's morale by telling them not to work? Like, they want to work and put on a good match. Why are you telling them, don't do this, don't do that, don't work for us, don't, like, you know that stuff we're paying you for? Just don't do it. Like, trying to be sound to the lads that you're also paying and then expecting them to respect you on the backside of that, like, they were coming to me like, what do I do? And then just going, I'm just like, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Like, I'm your contacts for creative stuff. Like, talk to me about this stuff and we'll clear it. Talk to them about money and transport and all that kind of stuff.
Not about transport, though.
Yeah, but don't talk to them about transport. Yeah, well, they'd learned since they had someone at least. They got on Twitter today when we announced it, because we ran first. I was saying to you guys, I was like, as it was getting closer, because I was saying to them, like, they said that it was due to low sales, so they cancelled. Their sales were not low. For me, they were near identical to Fight Factory's last week. And Fight Factory was a well-attended show. Everyone who was there will know there was not, like, empty seats or anything. Like, it was a well-attended show. And that's what I would have expected for Courage. Like, I looked at it from the start and I was like, 150, 200 and this is a success. Like, you're not going to be OTT. But, like, they went in promising the Button Factory that they were going to have, like, 300, 400, 500 people there. And I'm like, you're not. Only OTT get those crowds anymore. Like, it doesn't happen, like.
And as Justy pointed out, like, OTT get that with an online marketing campaign. Like, there's billboards up for Scrappermania around Dublin.
Huge.
Like, all that. Even for Fight Factory, like, I pay for sponsored ads and stuff on social media. We always have a really good postering campaign. You know, you do have to put the groundwork in.
Yeah, and none of this is being done. Like, and then expecting that kind of return. It's just like, no, that's not how any of this works. But not only that, but telling the venue. It was like, this is always going to be a disaster because you're not going to get 400 people and the venue are going to be pissed. Like, what were you planning at this stage? So turning around and saying that it was low sales is absolute bollocks. And as well, like, I kind of noticed a few days ago that I was like, I said it to you guys, we were chatting in the Low Blows group chat, and I said it to you, and I'm like, I'm worried these guys are going to just cut and run. Like, I'm worried, like, it's happened before in Irish wrestling where you get a case of the disappearing promoter, and I was like, this could happen, like, and I'm very cautious of it, because I'm like, I'm looking at their costs and how much they're in the hole at this stage, and I'm like, they could look at it as the easiest way is just to eat the deposit we paid the venue, and then pay no one else and just disappear. So I was very cautious of this the whole time. Today, this morning, we had the cancellations on Monday with Bobby Guns and Lucky Kids coming out. That was confirmed on Monday and Tuesday throughout the course. And then all of a sudden now I'm drafted in to bring in replacements. We set up, and this is overnight on Monday, we set up a deal with Pro Wrestling Eve. Very helpful, Emily and Dan Reed. Thanks a million for your help. They were absolutely brilliant. Hooked us up. We were doing a showcase match for some of their Sheevolution competitors as well. So I was like, finally, we've got a bit of space. We can get a women's match in the card. Because now, it's not my job to get the imports in, but I was like, I want to get this on, so I'm going to take this job on anyway and sort this out. So we had them in as a replacement for losing their main event. Now, they probably wouldn't have been main event because people wouldn't have known them, but like it was the match count was the same. We just throw another match up to main event. And then we had Julian Pace in as well, who's very popular the last time he came over. So I'm like, right, we're actually doing okay for replacements. And then this morning, as we're kind of finalising everything, we get a text out of the blue saying, look, we've had to cancel the show, the venue aren't happy, we lost our 2 headliners, and we have to preserve our relationship with the venue because they work with them for non-wrestling stuff. So all of this, there wasn't enough ticket sales. I was cautious of this at this stage, that I was like, they're going to try pin it on us. They're going to try pin it on us, and they're going to try. So that's why I came out and tweeted it immediately after they announced we were cancelling. I'm like, no, I'm going public, because I'd expected it for a few days, so I was prepared for whatever happened anyway. So I'm like, no, I'm going public, and I'm telling the actual truth about this. So everyone's kind of getting on. They're like, oh, well, Courage didn't move the needle. Courage. We were doing fine. We were doing better than expected, I'd say, me and Cian. Like, considering we had like near identical pre-sales to what Fight Factory had last week, and we had no promo behind that. You know what I mean? We'd no posters, we'd no flyering, we'd no kind of groundwork promo. We were doing well, and like we would have got a good door as well in Dublin City. We would have convinced people because we hadn't even finished like putting out all of our promos. I'm raging. Did you see It's Always Sunny in Courage yet?
No.
Oh, brilliant. I hope that they release it anyway. Luther, Valentine, and Tron and JDP did up a 5-minute Always Sunny in Philadelphia piss take. It's amazing. I hope they still put it out.
Send it to me. I really want to see that.
I will. It is. It's really cheesy, but also really funny, like, and very clever. But yeah, we hadn't even finished our promo, so I'm confident we're going to get a walk up and get like probably the best crowd Courage is going to get, and sales were in line with that by the end of it. But the lads just shit the bed, and that was that. So yeah, like, look, I'll finish by saying I don't think the lads are scumbags. A lot of people are absolutely shitting them, and like, here's the thing as well, like. And I kind of noticed this because I was the one who broke the story and was directly involved with it. A lot of people are coming out on Twitter and having their big threads, their hot takes about this issue, before they know the facts, and kind of also assuming that Courage's word was true about low sales when it's actually not the case at all. But also, people are kind of burying the guys, and I don't blame it because I've spent half an hour burying them myself. But at the same time, like, they're kind of treating them like they're absolute scumbags and this and that. I don't think they're scumbags. I don't think they're awful. I don't think they're horrible people or anything like that. I think they were just naive. I think they just got in way above their head. They were fans, and they just wanted to run a wrestling promotion. I think they wanted to hang out with wrestlers. I think they wanted to have points with imports, and they wanted to call themselves a booker, and I think they wanted to host pre-show meetings because they saw Paul Heyman do it in Beyond the Mat. And I don't think they're evil or bad or horrible or anything like that. They're just naive, and they made a mistake. And it's frustrating having put in 2 months of work and worked their asses off for it. But if I could revise Justy's advice, if I could go back over and if I could do it again, if I could reverse time and say to Justy, can we just say that one more time, but just put a few caveats? It's a great time to promote wrestling in Ireland. But if you want to work in wrestling or want to work in any industry, you should probably make sure you have some kind of experience beforehand that you can actually do so. Otherwise, you're wasting everyone's time. And sadly, I think that's going to be the tale of Courage. And it could have been so much more. Corporate Keane, your first ever show, but like the spandex pantomime from Monday just got really awkward with you talking about booking the show.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit devastated, to be honest.
How are you feeling now? And how's this experience been for you?
So the first thing I want to say is, right, I want to thank Courage for a few things, right? First of all, they brought me in to commentate on PAC's return match to Europe, right? And that's fucking cool. I got to commentate a PAC match, yeah? So that was cool. Also, this absolutely went tits up, yeah? And stating the obvious there, I don't want to, it's like, I hate the fact that I, attached my name to this absolute catastrophe. Yeah. And, I hate
attached low blows to it. It's really annoying.
It's bad, you know what I mean? You look through and you're kind of like, this, like, within the bubble of Irish wrestling, this will always be kind of my thing now. But I feel, so, but at the end of the day, one thing that's important is I saw, like, I've seen one or two people slagging off the wrestlers for this.
What?
Not blaming them for what happened, but, slagging them, saying, they're going to go running back to OTT and all that sort of shit. It was, just memes and jokes and all. I'm like, the wrestlers weren't getting booked by OTT. They took an opportunity. They made an opportunity for themselves by saying, fuck it, we'll wrestle for Courage. And when I look at the likes of Dimitri Krakovic, Club Rock Shandy, Luther Valentine, Nightmare Edition, they did some good stuff. There's loads of them you can choose from that did, like, what they were given, they made an opportunity for themselves and they took it. And I feel like nobody should be shitting on them. Nobody should be shitting on Ben, GG Media, Tommy McNulty, you know what I mean? Like, anyone else that was working on the show. They worked on the show. I don't know. Like,
the wrestlers bet on themselves.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing. They risked alienating OTT, and that's a big opportunity as well, because OTT does have very real benefits to working for them, and the lads bet on themselves by working for Courage, and I think they deserve respect for that. Now that it's all out, I think people should give wrestlers respect for that. And that's what I was looking forward to, because there was a show in Dublin City filled with largely Irish wrestlers. Spoiler alert, we were going to use the imports that we had to put over the Irish guys, like, because we wanted it to be predominantly around local talent. And I was really excited for that aspect of it, because it's like a hungry roster who are dying to show people this, like, this is what I have. Other people didn't believe in me, but I believe in myself, and they were fucking hungry for it. And that's what I'm raging that we're not getting to do.
One thing I will say is that you might think, but do you regret this? And weirdly enough, I actually don't at all. I'm delighted I did this, because I've never Like you've both seen, you know, like what it's like to book for a wrestling promotion and all that. I never have. I've only been, you know, the other side. And now that I've seen both sides, and I'm like, right, it's actually a fuckload harder to put together a wrestling show than you realise. That burning desire to, you know, have my own promotion or, you know, be a promoter, that's gone. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
I was just about to say we need to let Cian book a match on the next Fight Factory show so he gets a taste.
I think we need a floodgate match.
Don't get me
on
wrong.
episode
I've already
8.
put in a bid.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to do, you know, like a one-off show or something like that.
Yeah.
But to actually do like, and again, it would just be the booking, like the fun stuff, the creative stuff. I never want to actually own my own promotion and have to do like all that sort of shit and like, you know, on a regular basis as well. Because one thing I've learned as well, you can't get bored of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because if you get like, it's a never-ending thing.
Off.
Yeah, it's a never-ending thing. It might seem like, you know, because it's the same with videos. You know, like when I'm making videos, I'm like, some weeks I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait to put that video out. And other weeks I'm like, I could not be fucking arsed. But when I don't put out a video one week, that's just me that has to suffer there. But if you're promoting for a wrestling company and you get bored one week, everyone suffers as a result. So you can't, you know what I mean? You can't take a break, which is fascinating. You know what I mean? Like to know all that is really cool. So I'm grateful they gave me the opportunity. I would like to point out that as much as I will joke in the future about how like we ruined wrestling and all that sort of stuff, wasn't actually our fault. Like,
I think we made that abundantly clear with the half-hour rant.
to quote Snitsky, it's not my fault. Basically, you know, but it was an experience, and it's one that I'm grateful that I got to go through. And yeah, I don't know.
It's just a shame that it didn't. Like, I think this time last week we knew that this was going to be a one and done.
Yeah.
But I hoped that we'd still get that show, because there was still the option of, if the reviews are great, like this is going tits under. As soon as we knew that they were promising the venue 300-400 people, I was like, this isn't going to work. And they don't have a venue. Rights is gone now. They don't have another venue, and they don't seem to even care that much about this anymore. They seem to be like, this is hard and I want to go home. Like, that was their attitude to me over the past 2 weeks. Like, to be fair, I'll give credit to one of Mr. Kurt, the one we dealt with the most. He seemed eager this week when we were finding the replacements and stuff, but then the other person is just like, no, let's not do this. It's hard. And let's just stop it all. We could just quit. And then they did. And that was that. But I thought we'd get that show. And I was like, you know what? If it gets really good reviews and we enjoy it, we can look at maybe running ourselves, or it can be a pilot for something else, or other people can get ideas from it, or other people can take up the reins or something like. But I would have liked to get that one show. That's the disappointing thing.
One thing that's shit for me is, again, it's just the fact that it didn't happen. You know, like I can't say like, oh, I booked the show. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it didn't happen. So it's kind of like,
you did book a show. It just never happened.
Well, if it didn't well, then you can say you did anything and it didn't happen. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I got to experience it. I suppose that's the main thing. Thanks.
This is like the Fire Festival of Irish wrestling, isn't it?
Really? Yeah. The other thing to bear in mind is that, you know, again, as Rick was saying earlier about, you know, they're saying, oh, there's a budget, there's this, there's that. Like, I remember the rumours. The first text I ever got about Courage last August, might have been you, actually. And the rumours going around at the time were like, it's fucking Shahid Khan and Vince McMahon had sex and these are their babies and they're based in Dublin and they're big wrestling fans and they've more money than even exists on this planet and they're bringing in Zack Sabre Jr. And, you know, that obviously wasn't the case.
But you know what? That first show, I seen what now, okay, so the way it usually works is like a wrestler has a set fee that they work for, and then when they talk to the promoter, they'll say, hey, this is my fee, and the promoter will be like, cool, I'll pay you that. These lads sent out blind emails to loads of wrestlers being like, I will pay you this amount. And in some cases, it was 3, 4, 5 times what the wrestler's asking price was.
Jesus.
For that first show. Like they didn't ask people what their fees were. They were like, we will give you this much money.
Yeah. And like, I'd said to them as well, like, I'd said, you know, look after the early adopters, like, especially, like, you know, look after the people who come in early and continue to look after them. But, like, the way they did it was just totally haphazard, where they gave everyone loads of money, and then it's like, and then they cut everyone's fee. Like, when they were cutting the budget, they cut everyone's fee in half. So, like, the budget now for this was they were working their normal fees, and it's like, it's a dick move now that you're after setting that precedent, and then you're just saying, we want you for the next show, but can you work for less?
The funniest thing that happened is when these original emails start coming in, and there was a tag team at training with me, and they weren't offered the same price.
No way.
But I'm pretty sure it was to work as a tag team.
It's hard not to take that personally. Anyway, look, Courage. It's been something. I don't know what that is yet, but it's definitely.
I was going to say, you know, anytime anything bad happens and someone asks me, "Oh, so how did that go?" I just say, "Oh, it happened, you know, but it didn't." So
it didn't even
know what to say in this situation. We're not even on to like the second segment of the podcast. How long is this podcast?
Well, let's get on to it anyway. We still have Queen versus Keen to come.
Jesus.
Our courage plug got way cut down though.
I know, my man's after texting me being like, "Are you nearly finished your radio show?" She thinks I'm on the radio, which is really cute.
That's adorable. Right, okay, so our courage plug just went way down. We don't have to do that anymore.
Do we
so,
not?
okay.
I mean, it's in the doc. We should probably do it anyway.
In
case it changed your mind.
We'll get talking about shows that did happen anyway, guys. We're best and the worst of the week, starting with...
Say something stupid.
Worst of the week. In at number 6, one from SmackDown Live. This was just odd. Asuka came back for the first time. I'm not sure if it's the first time since she won the SmackDown Women's Championship from Becky. But she came back and she was wrestling Mandy Rose, who WWE clearly see a lot in. They're using her quite heavily.
She's really good now.
Yeah,
I watched Elimination Chamber. Hadn't watched her in months. She's excellent.
Yeah, and like there's a lot going for her, but at the same time, they had Asuka come out, cut a promo saying she's back. No one's ready for Asuka. She interrupted, and then in the middle of the match, they had Lacey interfere. Like they had her run out on the stage and just do a promo, and then Mandy Rose ended up just rolling up Asuka for no reason. And it's like, what? Like, you're after setting up Asuka's back, like the dominant Asuka. You really did well there. Now, I know what they're doing. They're setting up, you know, Mandy for a title shot at some stage. But I feel like there could have been a better way of doing it rather than just having her pin Asuka in Asuka's first match since winning. Like, you've got Asuka back to that dominant level. There's no need to just job her out straight away. That annoyed me anyway, and it was just awkward as well with interference. Anyway, in at number 5, surprised to see this and say something stupid. Talk to me about Fight Factory on Friday, episode 7.
It's actually less Fight Factory, and it's just more this stupid fucking venue crisis that's going on. So some of you may have heard we announced a date at the end of the Fight Factory show. That's not happening.
What?
They came to us the next day and said, "Oh, you know them dates we gave you last night and we confirmed?" Yeah. They're not confirmed anymore. We actually have other stuff booked in that night. So, so the venue crisis strikes again. Now, we are talking to them. We will still have a show in the Big Sean in April.
Right.
We might just have to try something a little bit different. But the date we announced is not the date that's going to run. It's not going to be the 26th, but we should have information up soon.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically it's not even a Fight Factory say something stupid. It's just the venue crisis again. Like, somebody please, whoever won that Euro Millions, just fucking build me a wrestling venue.
Yeah, just build an all-purpose that all of us can use. Like, yeah, as well.
Kirk and Hall, we'll all just go in one after another.
That'd be amazing. I did think about doing that as well. Like, it's in my Euro Millions plan, but unfortunately I wasn't the one. I won €3 though, so there's that.
Oh,
so.
nice. You bring those, like.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, in at number 4, one from Raw. Have you seen Kevin Owens' comeback vlogs?
No.
It's weird. Like, he's just doing vlogs from when he's off in his injury. So last week he did one while he's bowling with his family and friends. And then this week he did one where he's going to the cinema with his son. But they're just vlogs. It's just him. It's something that he'd like put on his Instagram. It's just like, hey, so I'm going out to the cinema with my son. He's getting popcorn over here. Did you get butter on that? No, you did. Why didn't you get butter? Yeah, I'm going to be back in like a month or so. It's just like, what are you going for? Like, it just feels like you want to get Kevin Owens on and let us know he's coming back. Just do a video package. Just do Kevin Owens coming back and something exciting. Like, I don't know what they're going for. He's charismatic in them, like, so I don't want to put it too high. But it just makes no sense. It's like, it's good to see KO on Raw. It's good to see some fresh info. Like, last week he's like, he kind of does, it's a bit heelish where it's cocky. He's like, I don't like the way I'm seeing people take over my show and I need to remind them who I am. And then he's like, I'm going to show you how it's done. And then like he takes a shot at bowling and it's just a straight gutter ball. And then everyone's like, and he's like, okay guys, I missed. I'm like, he's really likable there at the end. I don't know what they're going for. It's really random.
Simpsons character by the sounds of it, the way you're describing it to me.
It's so random, like, it makes no sense whatsoever. And it's not making me excited to see him. I'm like, oh, cool, Kevin Owens, I like him. But then I'm like, where is this going to? They're talking about him being Daniel Bryan's opponent at WrestleMania. He's one of the names that's lined up. Great match, but why is this getting me hyped for it? Like, I don't know. Anyway, in at number 3, let's talk about OTT, another one I'm surprised to see.
Right, yeah, I was at OT on Sunday, and it was great. I loved it. I'll get to that later, obviously, the good stuff. But one negative comes from a match for the gender-neutral title, right?
Okay.
It was Andrew Everett, Terry Thatcher, and Mark Haskins. And people were cheering Mark Haskins over Terry Thatcher. Explain that.
I can't explain it. I was very upset. I was sitting with Terry's wife for that. Or girlfriend, wife. Definitely a Terry Thatcher family because they were very loud all the way through.
Baby mama. Baby mama.
That doesn't sit right with me. But like I was.
She is hoe. I know Linda. It's grand. I'm allowed to say this.
Linda's lovely. But it was a very pro Terry Thatcher seating arrangement I was in, and that was great. Like I feel so bad you were not in that section.
Well, it wasn't really my section. My section were pretty quiet for that. It was just sort of like around the arena. I noticed it's like Haskins. He's literally come out and he said, "Fuck OTT." Like, what more do you want?
He's the only heel in the match, like.
Yeah, that's not even cheering Andrew Everett. Cheering Mark Haskins, Tans, all of them, West Brits, all of them, and I hope Declan Byrne shows up and knocks them all out. That's all I want. Chokes them out with a Shamrock Rovers jersey. That's all I want to see in Tala.
Alright, moving on. In at number 2, let's talk about something that you saw on Twitter, also relating to OTT.
Yeah, I don't even really know why I put this and say something stupid because I can see both sides of the argument, so I'm really just presenting a fact more than anything. Someone on Twitter talking about streaming. He was basically looking for an illegal OTT stream. Now, I don't agree with illegal streams because at the end of the day, I'm a wrestler. I appear on lots of video on demands and stuff. And we need the income. Like, every view actually does matter. I know with the bigger pay-per-views and stuff, it's like, no one will notice if I stream New Japan or whatever. But it does. It makes a difference, especially the smaller the organisation. What happened, though, then, was a massive pylon from wrestlers.
Oh, you hate this. You hate the pylons.
I do hate the pylons because I was just like, especially when it's just like a fan who has like, I don't know, it just does, it never sits right with me because when someone who has like thousands and thousands of followers draws attention to something someone has said, it brings a lot of negativity, but it can bring too much. And I just don't think it's ultimately that fair. But my favourite response was the guy then tweeting like, show me a wrestler who's never shared a Netflix password or who's never streamed a movie illegally or pirated something off Pirate Bay. And like, I'll admit, I never have ever.
Oh, really? I
went to film school and I don't agree with pirating or streaming.
Okay.
Oh, shit. So you've never shared a Netflix password or anything?
Oh, I pay for Netflix for my family and I gave the password to my brothers, but I'm the one who pays for it.
Right.
Yeah,
I
don't stream
that person
movies,
as
I
well.
don't buy pirates, anything like that because, I used to work in that industry.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, just a little bit of a pylon, so I was just like, maybe if a fan missteps, maybe let's not pile on them as much.
The problem is it's very common with OTT, and that's not even against OTT, but it's just they've got that cult-like mentality where everyone's like, and it's just the way they present it. It's like, they have the national anthem at the start and they're like, and then they've got, Ango and Tony come out and they do their, Ango does his propaganda where he's like, you love us, we're OTT, and then the crowd get chanting and stuff like that. So everyone gets all worked up and they love it. And they're so passionate about it. But then when a couple of wrestlers do it, what happens is, the result of it is those wrestlers now, because OTT's gotten so big, have maybe thousands of followers, and then they end up piling on as well. So then it becomes like really uncomfortable where it's just like, all right, now you're trying to bury this guy. You know what I mean? You're trying to put him in the ground at this stage.
Like tweet them back by all means with your opinion, but the quote tweets, and then when there's like, on my timeline there's like 7 of them in a row.
Yeah.
I was just...
And you get them with the new Twitter look. You get like, you see the original tweet and then you see all the quote tweets under, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He got it.
Yeah.
Can I add another, say something stupid?
Yeah, of course.
OTT. Where was that national anthem on Sunday? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Jordan Devlin's Music was the first song on. That is the new
That's actually
national
national anthem. Jordan Devlin
I'm actually
coming out.
alright with that.
I'm okay with that. Like,
I'll
Jordan
tell you,
Devlin
the most
president.
epic thing in the world, though, is that Pat Benatar song playing as David Starr and Jordan brawl up the ramp. Like that is, that is already my iconic moment from this year.
It was like a music video. It was like, oh my god, Sean Ryan, get in there.
I will never hear that song the same way again. That was excellent.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Anyway, look, we're going to talk about the good from OTT in a bit, but in at number 1, this was my original plan, rant. Now we have to cut it short because we went in on courage. So I stayed up for Elimination Chamber the other night. Obviously, no spoiler one. It's a mad week for stuff getting cancelled. We apologise for that, by the way. It was just a double booking with the venue, and as well, we knew it was going to be quiet because it was Fight Factory and OTT on the same weekend. So we knew it was going to be one of our quieter ones. And when the double booking happened, I was like, okay, you know what, it's fine.
The venue were unhappy with Elimination Chamber though. They were not happy. They were like too violent.
2 cages. No.
They heard Nia Jackson through the pod, and they were like,
"This is gonna run." We've just got a whole new set of running jokes now because of this. So I end up staying up and watching it. And what I'll do sometimes, and most famously, perhaps the example is the Great Power Udi, of course, where we just decided to wind them up, and ended up getting barred from Nigeria. What I'll do sometimes is just to entertain myself, because people don't stay up as often for pay-per-views anymore, so we don't get necessarily as many Lowe's that we know tweeting us in. So I'll just join in the conversation elsewhere, and just kind of, if I see something that I'm interested in, I'll just either post something funny or have join in a debate or something. And I noticed this with Becky's interference at the end of the Raw Women's title match. So if you haven't seen it yet, basically, Charlotte got into the ring to confront Ronda Rousey after she defended her title, then Becky limped out even more dramatically. It's getting more dramatic every week, her limps out from suspension. I tweeted out, I was like, one day they're going to stack the odds against her so much, she's going to be like Stephen Hawking, coming out completely decrepit in a wheelchair going, I am the man, I am the man. It's getting more elaborate, but she limps out to the ring and then she beats the shit out of both of them. Now, there were a few stiff shots in there, but and Ronda ended up busted open, and she ended up at one stage grabbing the other crutch and blocking it with Becky. But Jim Corderas, former WWF referee, the bald, timid lad you remember, I remember from SmackDown back in the day in the blue shirt. That's my Jim Corderas mental image. Went off on Becky and was he's like, she's unsafe to work. They need to teach people how to use weapons and how to do it safely and stuff. And I wasn't. Sometimes I will be winding them up. Sometimes I will be trolling people. I wasn't here. I was just having a conversation with him, and I just got back and I'm like, yeah, but Jim, you know yourself, they probably agreed in the back, we're selling the main event of WrestleMania, let's go a bit snug on this, which is something the wrestlers will do. It's we're selling something snug for anyone who doesn't know, and Jim Corderas claims I don't know. I do, Jim. I didn't want to, be all well, actually, I've been trained, I'm booking a show next, oh wait, no, that's not happening. I didn't want to be like that, so I just let him have it, but snug is where it's not stiff, it's where you agree to lay it in, so to speak. That covers it for snug, yeah? So, sometimes wrestlers, when they're selling a big match or something like that, they'll be like, let's just fucking hit each other. I noticed David Starr and Jordan Devlin at the start of their match, they just punched each other, because they're like, this is a big, well built up match, we have all that, they just fucking laid it in. That's snug. So I'm like, they agreed in the back, let's sell the main event of WrestleMania here, and they just went for it. Also as well, it wasn't as if Becky could be wait for Ronda to run at her with an axe handle and then hit her in the stomach and then hit her in the back. It wouldn't have been as effective. The moment required that high-pitched tempo, because you need the crowd to go, yeah, fuck yeah, come on. You needed Becky to be just swinging for the hills and going absolutely insane, because that's the pop she's getting from the crowds. Jim Corderas went full WWE veteran on me, and this is all on our Twitter on Low Blows if you want to check it out. And he's like, you know nothing about the business, you know fucking nothing. Well, no, he's Canadian, so he didn't actually curse, but he was using little things. I was telling the guys earlier, he's like, I don't give two turds. I don't give two turds. He was very Canadian in the way he came back, but he was getting proper aggressive with me. He's like, look at you, you're just trying to sell your podcast. He was there checking our page, and then when he went for me, then I started winding him up, and I was like, he's like, I got trained by Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, Arn Anderson, Fifth Finlay, and he's just telling me all these names, and I'm like, so the people that booked the match. And then he's like, you don't know who booked the match. I'm like, yeah, but Vince McMahon definitely booked the match. He gave them this direction. And he's like, who'd you ever get trained by? And I didn't even mention it. And I was being polite. I was like, look, yeah, no, Jim, you know more than me, so teach me instead of shouting at me. And then he's like, I tried to teach you. And he just went crazy. He started subtweeting me after the argument had ended. And go back, because at one stage he just starts, I just start saying, do you want to mention the list of legends you worked with again? You seemed happier when you did that, Jim. And he's just like, two little characters to name. And I was just like, death by cringe. And then he just goes, death by gif. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense, Jim. He was losing the plot. I think what happened, and I like Jim Corderas, by the way. I've gone out, we've got sent in questions about referee and stuff like that before, and I've got onto him and asked him, like, what do you think about this? And he's explained, like, the obscure rules of wrestling and stuff, and he's been helpful. I think he was just having a bad night because he went for Becky, and he saw what happens when you go on Twitter at the person that everyone loves. So I think he was just getting it from all angles and just taking it out on someone. So nothing personal, Jim, but you were wrong. And you do understand the wrestling business better than me, but I understood that moment better than you. Like, Becky, first off, there's no way to train for weapons. Do you have like a kendo stick class in Fight Factory as a trainer?
No.
Or line up and get hit in the face with a chair.
No.
You just do it. There's no way to train that. Like, you can train to feed and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And there is, like I said, the axe handle kind of, you could do that where someone's running at you and then you hit them in the stomach and then you hit them in the back, but that's slow and wouldn't have worked for the moment. It's like Austin at WrestleMania 17 when he hit The Rock 20 times with a chair. Imagine if that was really slow and it was like, and now hit me in the back and then I'm going to feed around and hit me in the face. It's like, no, it was intense because he hit him like, fuck, like 50 times, like one after the other. But stuff's going to get lost in translation in that. Becky's not unsafe. Becky knows how to swing like a weapon. Okay, it just, shit happens. Like, someone got cut. It made it more effective. It happened to Becky a few months ago with Nia. It happens all the time. It doesn't mean she's unsafe. It doesn't mean that she's not worth her spot. And you're just wrong, Jim Corderas. But I don't hate you for it. I just accept that you are wrong and forgive you. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the good from the week because it's time for. In at number 5, anyway, best of the week. Talk to me about the latest from MLW.
Yeah, okay, so this is just a minor little thing, right? I'm going to get my phone out for this. Basically, Ace Austin had a match, and he had a theme song, and it's actually a really, really good theme song. I'm going to play it. No wrestler has, I can't believe no wrestler has actually used this before. Like, let me see if I have it here, please. Oh, I thought I fucking had it saved. Very, very, it's kind of, it's a good tone to it, you know.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Have you ever heard anyone use a song before? Honestly,
give me another listen. No, I've never heard that song before.
I don't think I have.
No. Oh, that's really catchy.
It is.
Oh, that'd be really
someone
good.
Definitely should have used it before.
It sounds like music someone really cool would use.
No. Ace Austin's not really one of my favourites. And I don't know. I just don't think. But I would have expected some wrestler to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know how that's gone under the radar. In at number 4, one from Raw and SmackDown because it happened again. It was a bit weird, so that's why it's not higher on the list, and I don't know what they're planning. But they did just randomly decide this week to do a bunch of NXT call-ups. Now, I don't know if they're call-ups or if they're cameos and advertisements for NXT. If they are call-ups, I don't know what they're going to do with NXT, because they had Ricochet, Aleister Black, and then Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who were presented as a tag team, like DIY coming back. Now, I know they're kind of getting to that in NXT, but they had them wrestle on Raw and also on SmackDown because it went so well on Raw. Some really cool things they did. They had Balor and Ricochet. Okay, he's at the
dropped it again, I'm sorry. And I gave myself a fright when I did it.
I don't know, where it was like, when you're half falling asleep and you get like, you're not asleep but you're not awake, you get that whole like, and your body just jumps. It was like that. It was funny.
They had Balor and Ricochet team up against Lashley and Leo Rush. That was really good. They DIY against the Revival, which I only copped the significance of, like when they were actually wrestling. Like, so they had that match. DIY ended up winning. I think all of them won all their matches, but they had Aleister Black against Andrade, and here's the cool thing about that. That took place in the same place they wrestled in NXT on the TakeOver, where Aleister Black won the title off Andrade. So, and then they had probably my favourite match of the week was DIY against The Bar. Actually better than DIY against Revival. They were brilliant together. They just gelled completely. It was just really cool for a week, something different. Again, I'm just a bit hesitant because I'm like, oh, don't make this like EC3 where it's just like you call them up for the sake of it. And the reports are that Vince McMahon just got on to Triple H and he's like, we need some good wrestlers. Give me some good wrestlers for Raw and SmackDown. So it seems like it's just kind of winged, and the problem with that is we've been covering EC3 on Say Something Stupid for the past few weeks and how it's weird and not really working yet because they don't have a plan for them. So I hope it doesn't go like that, but I'm kind of into it, so I'll give it a chance. Anyway, in number 3, Elimination Chamber, Kofi did another Kofi. After last week we talked about him on SmackDown, he went and did it again. Now, the only reason again I'm not putting this higher, people love it, but the problem was, same reason it didn't get the number 1 spot last week is because the Gauntlet match was just a rehash of Seth Rollins, which they'd replayed on Raw, so it was obviously fresh in their memories, and they had him like survive the Gauntlet all the way, but then he lost in the end, but he got a hero's welcome day. And then the Elimination Chamber I found was very similar to when Santino Marella did it a few years ago with Daniel Bryan as well. Like, so I just felt like it's losing points for me for being a rehash, but Kofi did really well in the spots as well, and he's after getting a title match at Fastlane out of it, so that was announced on SmackDown too, which is going to be really good. Him and Bryan obviously click together, so I'm looking forward to that. People now calling for Kofi to get the belt at WrestleMania. I'm like, if they give it to him in the pay-per-view after WrestleMania, I don't mind, but not for Mania. Like, it's one of these where when he gets the belt, the story's over, and then it's like, oh, Kofi's the champion now. Nothing against him as well, like, and he probably does deserve a run for how long he's been with the company and how well. Think about how well Kofi does as well when he gets pushed. Do you remember he had that feud with Randy Orton a while back?
Actually, did you see the callback to that?
No, what was it?
So apparently that feud ended because Randy Orton got thick during a match because Kofi didn't feed the right way or something, and he goes stupid and clotheslined him across the back of the head, and then that was the feud killed after that. And people were like, oh, Randy doesn't like wrestling Kofi's done. I think, was it Elimination Chamber? Something. Anyway, I seen a clip of it today. Randy Orton back turned, Kofi Kingston, big clotheslines at the back of the head.
Nice.
Stupid. And I was like, oh my God, you've waited like 10 years for that payoff. That's excellent.
Fantastic. That's the kind of thing you'll only see in New Japan, but then they're messing with the smarts as well, like, because they're playing off that. That's when I love that. That's going higher for me. But yeah, Kofi doing another Kofi Elimination Chamber. Look, if you've seen it, you've seen it. If you haven't, watch it. There's nothing more really to add, but he did excellent, and I'm glad to see him getting pushed. It's a really different main event for Fastlane, but I'm really looking forward to it too. In at number 2, let's talk about episode 7 last Friday.
Episode 7. So this is our return after about 6 months to the Big Sean. To be honest, I was kind of shitting myself about this show. I didn't know how it was going to go. It's a big break. A lot has happened in those 6 months. But overall, I was so happy watching the show. Like, I just got to sit down and watch it start to finish. We had like 5 or 6 debuts, I think, of next gen people. But I think the big thing coming out of the night was the Cruisers as the champs. So the Angel Crews have never worked for Fight Factory as a tag team before, and I genuinely think nobody was expecting them to come out on Friday night, much less win the tag titles, much less have an absolute stormer of a match. Like, I was sitting there like jaw open. I was fantastic, and like, it's going to just set the tone for the shows going forwards now. I
loved how More Than Hype kind of got a bit heelish.
Yeah, Nathan got a little bit,
yeah, like he started having a go at me and stuff like that as well. Like, it was like, I was like, oh, I've never seen this from the lads like this. They're really good at this. Like, and like, they were just so cocky and arrogant and stuff like that. And then on the mic as well, like, it was fantastic. Like, yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
My other favourite match of the night was Sammy D and Phil. Again, I know I'm biased. I know I am.
You're Miss Elizabeth for this.
Yeah. But I mean, I just loved it. It was just like a proper like heel face, let's go out, like nothing overly fancy, beat the shit out of each other. Also, Phil resurrected his really old finisher.
What's the name, if you know?
We used to call it the Harvey Godarby because he used to use it as a finisher. Then I start wrestling, and before I had the gory bomb, he was like, try this move. So I did it in a few matches.
Nice.
Didn't really work because at the time I couldn't get everyone on my shoulders, so there was no point in me doing it. And then he, like, neither of us did it for years, and then he resurrected it on Friday night.
You didn't know that was coming, did you?
No.
Yeah, because I remember.
I literally haven't seen it in years. Like,
yeah, Katey popped big for that. Like, yeah.
It was just a really good match,
Yeah.
and I really, really enjoyed it.
That's the gif going around, by the way. If you've seen it on Twitter, that's the gif of Phil. It was fantastic. And just like, very simple. But also as well, like those matches at Fight Factory, because you're going for the youth. So those matches people can sleep on sometimes, but they fucking made sure no one slept on that match. Like everyone was into that. Like from the start where Sam came out acting creepy, which the lads did absolutely fantastic. It showed
He does
why.
it too well.
What's that?
Sam does creepy.
Oh yeah,
too well. He really does.
He's very intense.
Yeah, very intense. I wasn't sure what was real and what wasn't. The main event as well deserves a shout out.
Yes.
So I put this in our private group afterwards. That's the first 100% new generation Fight Factory we've had. So in every other match we've had a Phil Boyd, we've had a Alexander Dean, we've had a Justy, we've had a Jordan Devlin, we've had someone from like the old guard. That's the first main event we've had that's been completely new generation. And like it was just perfect. It was the perfect reboot show, I think, to have those three in the main event.
Yeah, and they did absolutely fantastic as well. Got to give a shout out to Dimitri as well.
Oh, Dimitri.
Yeah,
I freaked out. I was having a little bit of injury anxiety watching the show.
Yeah.
You know, every time someone did a dive, I closed my eyes and asked you, were their elbows okay? So I was having a little bit of anxiety. So when I seen his blood, I freaked out.
Yeah, it was bad.
Start calling on people to get him out of the ring and stuff. And but Dimitri was finishing that match. There was no two ways about it. He was like, he didn't even tap in the end. He literally just passed out in a pool of his own blood.
Yeah,
which is pretty badass. And then sat in the back laughing and asking me to take a photo.
The amount of photos coming out from it.
Yeah.
I think his new profile and all like that.
I just really wish I cut the string off the tampon that I put up his nose.
No, I thought that was I thought that was fake when I first saw it as well because there was so much blood because it was like rubbed all over his face. I was like,
just from his nose as well. Like that's a really intense nosebleed. Like.
Yeah. So I thought it was like one of those like blood capsules or something like that. I was like, oh, mad. And well, it wasn't. So
no,
it really wasn't.
And like as well, like I loved the way that ended, and I know a lot of it was on the hop because of how serious Dimitri's injury was. But like I loved Maxer getting in the ring then afterwards and just cutting a promo and
ruining
stuff like
my first aid kit in the process.
It was fantastic. Like I loved that show. It felt so different to last year's shows, but in a good way. Like it did feel like because we'd promised it's like. In every bit of promo I was doing on Twitter was like the future takes over. This is where like this is a new this is not a new chapter, but it's like a new section of the book. It's like you read the first bit and that's setting it up, and this is now where it goes on to the next stage. And it really felt that way from start to finish, like where it wasn't guaranteed, but you could feel that the weight was being put on the people who were maybe being built up last year, and now they took over and they were more than able for it. That main event was absolutely fantastic.
And even like Big Rob and Justin in the opener, like Whopper, like that's Mehrab's first main show.
Yeah.
Like, he was on dark matches.
Yeah, you don't think of that, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Well done to all involved. Fight Factory doing themselves proud, as always. In at number one, though, there can only be one. As well from Ireland, let's talk about OTT.
Right, so I was at OTT on Sunday in the basketball arena in Tala, and I loved it. So, yeah, just a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, the production. So, like, if you actually look at it, and they have this screen, they have these lights, and this, like, big, what's the word? Rig? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
With, like, over the ring. Oh, just like it looked really, really like top level of shit. Like it was really cool. Also the crowd. So I didn't like. I just heard on like Twitter or whatever that it was 1,500. I don't know how I don't know the exact numbers myself, but that sounds right. You know what I mean? It was definitely over 1,000. It was packed. Even my mom gave me a lift, from the arena. Yeah, and she saw the big crowd and she was just like, Cian, there's a lot of people here. I know. Yeah, no, it was massive. There was loads of people there, and I saw someone say it on Twitter as well, and I agree with it 100%. It's like, this, to me, I personally find this way more impressive than selling out stadium with, the Elite and with New Japan and all that. This is the basketball arena. And I don't know if it was sold out, but it was like nearly sold out if it wasn't.
1,500 is an amazing crowd. I know we're getting kind of used to it, but that's still amazing.
But it's with, okay, they had like Pac, but it was like Pac Walter and really, it was just an OTT show. It was, like, it didn't feel like I was...
Ilya and David as well are regulars at this stage.
Yeah,
like,
it didn't feel like I was watching half a New Japan show and half an OTT. This was all OTT, start to finish, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the opener, Devlin Star.
I watched this on demand.
The crowd, it's so intense. Like, proper goosebumps and all, like, when it's just happening, and they have the Sean Ryan video package at the start. I love the reaction as well, because it was the opener, and I think everyone expected to be the main event. So because it was the opener, everyone's like, everyone's, you know, okay, like, well, why are they playing the video package now? And Devlin's music hit, and it's just this.
So the front row genuinely looked like they were having a heart attack.
And it was like people coming in all. It's like, imagine being like half an hour late and you missed
There
Devlin's
was
start.
The people that missed the match, I could see, because a few of my mates walked in late, and I was like, "You've missed Devlin's Star," and like that heartbreak. I feel so bad for you.
Oh, I would have cried. Well, I didn't miss it, so.
A shout out as well. I watched it on demand. Engo's commentary for that was absolutely fantastic, because like it made sense of what was happening, because again you had that reaction to Jordan, and then Engo sounds like he's after, I don't know if he was, but it sounds like he's after running straight to the desk, and he wasn't expecting to start commentating. He's like, "What's Jordan Devlin doing out here?" And he goes straight to 10 to start the show, and he's like, "Jordan Devlin couldn't wait to beat up David Starr. He has to be first. He's coming out now." And he just like straight away, like, it's worth checking out on the on demand, because it's just, you're intense from start to finish. That match I thought was fantastic. Jordan is in a different level. Like, Jordan is like, he's like top 5 or 10 in the world for me right now, and I know I'm biased in saying that, but at the same time he's fantastic. Do you know what makes him fantastic though, and what I loved about it in this match? He knows his timing is just spot on. He knows the times when it's right to just stop for a second, look at the crowd, then do something fucked up. You know what I mean? Everything he just gets right. Like, he's still, like, the WWE training is shown, because that's what WWE is all about. Like, pick your moments, slow it down in the right moments, and then speed it up in the right moments. But like, he still has that kind of indie sensibility that we all that made us all love him and got him where he is, where he just goes 100 miles an hour. But then, like, he goes 100 miles an hour, but then he stops and looks at the crowd, or just looks pissed off, or just has that one facial expression, and it's just the charisma that goes along with it is what makes you attached to him in the same way. Where, Jordan Devlin was like his theme music was like the national anthem, and that's what's making this feud, because you believe in Jordan, you want him to put the country on his back, because he has those little moments where he just goes, like, even before he did the moonsault off the barricade, like, he just stopped for a second, looked around, and then goes, "Yeah, fuck it," and then just does it, and then it's like, "Oh, you what the fuck?" So it's both like slowed down and quickened up at the same time. Like, it's like when I say, when I'm watching more than hype matches, it's like watching wrestling at a different speed to what you're used to, because it's just like, you're used to your ba 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 ba, but then with Jordan or more than hype, it's like ba 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 ba. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck? You're just spots upon spots upon spots. But like, fantastic, absolutely loved that match. Haven't seen the rest though, so what should I look out for?
Right, so I loved MJF's match.
Oh yeah.
So basically, he teamed with Justy, take on the Angel Cruisers, who are accompanied by Team Prick. And I really should be putting this for multiple reasons and say something stupid, because it's the sort of thing that would hurt my feelings. But holy fuck, it was so good. So he comes out, and he's cutting a promo in the most, like, I'm so glad he did, because I love MJF for this sort of thing. He comes out and he's like, "I'm so happy to be here in the United Kingdom," and everybody's like, "Fuck off, fuck you, fuck you." I can't remember the rest of it, but then he said something like, "I just think that it's a shame that the potato famine didn't finish the job," and everyone's like, it was so fucking good. And then Team Prick at the end of the match.
I was heartbroken by this, just reading on Twitter.
I should be heartbroken, but it's so good. Like, this is obviously you've got the Devin Walters storyline, but now you've got this as well. This is another really good storyline that it's kind of gone under the radar for a lot of people, but it's like, now Angel Cruz has been dragged into this feud between Be Cool and Justy on an emotional level, on a personal level, because his own boys have turned.
Yeah.
That's so good. I love it.
Angel Cruz's tweet where he had the picture that they drew and it was ripped up. I was like, that's got me in the feels.
Actual match was whopper as well, because like the first half of the card was long. It was like, what, about 3 hours almost for the first half of the card?
I don't even know.
And like,
it was long.
This just had me up to 90. This is probably my favourite match of the whole
nice.
night. Like, I absolutely loved it. And it was just like, you know the way you just don't see like proper heels anymore?
Yeah.
Like, Justy and MJF are just proper bastards.
Nice.
Like, they were really good.
Love it.
Another thing I'd mention, I fucking loved the whole Scotty Davis stuff. So basically, Team Will Ospreay to take on Besties in the World, and the whole thing is just Will Ospreay hyping up Scotty Davis, and it's just amazing. Like, Scotty looked like such a fucking star after it as well. Whole crowd are losing their shit for him, and then they announce that it's Scotty Davis against Jushin Thunder Liger, and I'm like, fuck yes!
I love people coming out and saying Scotty for Best of Super Juniors. I'm like, oh,
imagine.
He could get that through this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not this year. He wouldn't get it this year. They probably have it locked up. New Japan plan for our head. But, like, next year. Like, he's going to get in. Jushin Thunder Liger will be involved in that process.
Holy shit.
I'm just saying. If
Like, yeah, and like Ospreay is so hot on him. Like,
Yeah.
you could just tell he genuinely, like, loves the bones of Scotty from the little promo we did afterwards. The match as well was excellent. One of the besties blew his knee out near the start. Did
shit.
you know that?
No.
He blew his knee out and finished the whole match. He
Fuck.
had to be, like, carried backstage.
Jesus.
Yeah, so he just carried on because he's apparently a badass.
Their theme, their entrance is the best. The best is in the world. Just so good. Loved it to bits. And also, I'd like to just
It's
mention...
Savage Garden, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's truly madly deep.
oh my god, that is an amazing song. I love
And they
that
have a
song.
dance routine.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fucking
Alright,
great.
I'm watching this right now.
And the main event, I enjoyed the main event. I was confused at the start because I didn't quite get the rules. It's basically, it was 3 on 2. Worky, Paddy M, and Session Mott against the Kings. And yeah, it was just great to see, like, you know, all the Irish lads at the end fucking killing it. So basically the rules were, it was like, they were all called in at intervals. So
Right.
like one by one at certain intervals. And
War
then-
games kind of stuff.
Yeah, but in war games it's like you're not allowed to escape, whereas in this you had to escape
Right.
to win. But it's like, I don't get it though, because then it's like you want to escape, but you also don't want to leave your partner in a 3-on-1 situation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, I don't like.
It was similar last year, but I think they did well to work around that step where it was like, oh fuck, what have I done? Like, so,
Yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed the match. I still
Okay.
thought it was fucking great, and I thought it was a good ending. And like also like all the thumbtacks and all. Like,
Martina and Corbin deserve a shout out for that finish. Like, they killed each other in the tacks. Like, and she got nearly knocked out in her first move as well. She got like lawn darted into the cage.
I saw that
Oh my
gif.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
sick.
Her head, and she comes up to me and she's like, I was like, geez, are you okay? And she's like, oh, I banged my head. And she went to lift up her elbow and she goes, your elbow? And she's like, yeah, it's just a bit sore. But like, she had thumbtacks still stuck in it.
Jesus.
And like, it was like, she went through a war, like, fair play to her.
Fair fucks, lads. Anyway, look, it seems great. I can't wait to check out the rest on VOD. Fair play as well. Shout out to the lads for getting it up so quickly. Guys, this is where we're going to preview Low Blows Ruin Wrestling. However, we've already ruined it. So
this week it's courage.
no need for that, guys. Just keep an eye out, because this week we will be having news about our WrestleMania party. People have been asking; they're getting on to us every year. It's earlier and earlier they get on to us, and the question is, how is it going to be bigger this year? It's going to be bigger because it won't just be a one-night WrestleMania party. We'll be celebrating WrestleMania weekend in Buskers on the Ball. Find out how by keeping an eye on our social media over the next few days, and tickets will be on sale shortly. But now, it's time for a main event. It's time to get to this. People have been waiting weeks for this, guys.
Shit.
So now that you're back, Katey, it's time for
Queen versus King.
Okay, so Queen versus Keen, as we said at the top of the show. Katey leading 8-5, Corporate Keen badly needs to come back. Now, to just pull you behind the curtain a little bit, the way I do Queen versus Keen is a few months ago when we came up with this idea, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to need a shitload of ideas. So I wrote a note on my phone with ideas, and basically, like, I've been ticking them off one by one as we go on, week by week. It doesn't matter, whatever's on the phone on that particular week, we have to do. So this week, I came up with one completely at random, nothing to do with anything else, and I'm going to just check my phone now and just see what it is. It is an arm wrestling
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Like, we don't want to aggravate anything, so look, if you got to forfeit, we can forfeit and you can move on, but
See, the stubborn one me wants to try anyway, because I still think I could beat him.
for strength you probably could, but for not aggravating your
Can't
elbows,
even hold a microphone tonight.
it's probably not ideal. So, look, you're 3 ahead. Are you okay to forfeit?
I'm not okay with it, but
You'll accept it.
I'll accept it.
All right.
Final
Cian,
answer, lock in, she's forfeit.
final answer, 8-6.
Great, because I would have lost that, and I'm delighted. I didn't even
You know what? When I did that, I was like, Katie's going to win. That'll be funny.
I will take that forfeit win, because I need that forfeit win.
So next on the list, completely at random, made this months ago, whatever comes up is completely like coincidental. It's a game that I came up with called Elbow Hurts. And it's a game show basically where we talk about two of my favourite bands, Elbow and Hurts. And I just name songs for you off their most recent albums, and you have to tell me whether it comes from Elbow or whether it comes from Hurts. I just thought this was a really clever idea.
It is.
And it's after working out.
Yeah, they just happen to be your two favourite bands.
Yeah, they are. Exactly, top two. One Elbow, two Hurts. Purely coincidental. Alright, guys. So, right, we'll do best of 5. And shout out your name if you want to guess. So it's just Elbow or Hurts, but you only get one guess. And if you're wrong, you have to give it to the other person can steal your, and then they'll know you're wrong. So
Elbow are a real band. You know that,
and
right?
so are Hurts.
Are they?
Yeah, these are my two favourite bands.
Don't you think we were going to do this if they weren't real bands?
I thought they were made of songs as well.
No, they're real bands, real songs.
Say, how do you spell Hurt? Is it Hurts? Like,
Yeah, Elbow Hurts.
where are they from? Like, what band? Like, are they rock or where are they from? Or?
Yeah, they're kind of both similar. They're both kind of similar vibes. They're both kind of mellow rock.
Oh, okay.
Kinda, yeah.
Mad.
So, is it Elbow or is it Hurts? Say your name and you only get one guess. The song is The Blanket of Night.
Cian.
Go on.
Hurts.
No.
Katey, Elbow.
There you go.
I probably should say nothing then, actually.
Is that insensitive? Like, again?
I'm fine with, believe me, this is not the most insensitivity I've
The next question is, This Blue World.
Cian. Hurts.
No.
Katey, Elbow.
Right, if Katey gets one more,
Oh, it's best of 5.
it's
Shit.
best of 5. If Katey gets one more, then she wins. The next song is Charge.
Katey,
Go on.
Fuck.
Hurts.
No.
Yes, Elbow. Unlucky.
You didn't say your name. I'm
Cian.
gonna no, I'll give it to you.
I'm proper. I'm gonna fuck this microphone across the room. Like,
Question 4. Blood, tears,
Cian.
and gold.
Elbow.
No.
Katey,
Bollocks.
Hurts.
Katey wins!
No,
Katey wins, Elbow Hurts. That's why I did it.
no, because I was going to say, I thought, like, when he came to the end and it was all elbows, like, hang on, he's making this up. There is no Hurts, you lied. And there's only, like, 2 elbow songs I knew as well, so I was like, oh.
Cian,
okay.
you pulled it back to within 2, and then you lost it again. 9-6 to Katey, a double point week.
I'm sorry.
I should shut my mouth. If I had said nothing the whole time, I'd have been fine.
I was letting him go first and everything.
That's all we have for this week. But before we go, Katey, any
I will be in Holland this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Not wrestling. I was supposed to wrestle More Than Hype this weekend.
Oh, shit.
It was supposed to be me and Phil against More Than Hype.
Ah.
I was living with
Data
that
caught you on
match.
a dive. That's a shame. What's the joke you were telling us about that? It's like More Than Hype, Jimmy Havoc, and Phil Boyd walk into Amsterdam with a cripple.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Amsterdam with us all weekend, so I'll bring back stories for next week.
All right, excellent. We'll look forward to it. And delighted to have you back, and delighted you're in good spirits as well. Corporate Cian, what's coming up on your YouTube channel?
Right, this is just a last minute decision because obviously like all the courage stuff was happening, so I was like, oh, will I make a video and will I go there? But I'm not gonna. I think this
Save
podcast,
it. Do it sometime, but
maybe,
save it.
Maybe we'll see. But for this week, I am gonna show my mum loads of wrestlers. Right, she's not a wrestling fan, by the way. Never seen. Well, the only wrestling shows she's seen are shows that I drag her to as a child.
Okay.
So she's not a wrestling fan. Doesn't know anyone. I am stealing a concept from Justy from Low Blows.
Right.
Is it a wrestler or is it a porn star? And I'm going to get my mum to basically say, are they a wrestler, are they a porn star, why, with one picture. And I'm also, there's one little twist, they're all wrestlers.
Okay. Okay.
So
You're going to put my picture in.
I was thinking, there's going to be an Irish wrestling section, so I might.
Amazing. Right, I cannot wait for that. Check that out. Subscribe to Corporate Keen on YouTube. Look, we're going to tape Low Blows now. Katey's got to run, but guys, we're going to be taping it again very shortly, so do get on to us with a Katey special version. So send in your questions that you want to hear from the Queen of Irish Wrestling. But me and Cian will be around, so get that on Friday. But until next week, good to have you back, Katey. For Corporate Keen, for Katey Harvey, for Rick Nash, that's the bottom line. Because Low said so.